and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Are you struggling to sleep at night? Have you heard of Sleep Cream? Sleep Cream is a revolutionary new product made of all natural ingredients and with pure CBD. You simply rub it on sensitive skin areas right before bed. You will feel relaxed in a matter of minutes and you will get the best sleep you've had in years. I know I have. You may have heard all kinds of mixed messages about CBD, but Sleep Cream only uses pharmaceutical grade pure CBD crystals with 0 THC. And it's made right here in the USA. So if you want an all-natural way to sleep better, you must try Sleep Cream. Best of all, it's guaranteed to work or your money back. No questions asked. Just try it for yourself, and with its 100% money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose except more sleepless nights. Go to sleepcream.com. That's sleepcreme.com. And you can use code November24 at checkout to save $24 on your first order. If you're ready for the best sleep ever, go to sleepcream.com. That's sleepcreme.com.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Tonight we're joined by founder of Manor House Studios and executive producer of City of Dreams. It's out in theaters right now. John Devaney. John, welcome to the show. Tell us about City of Dreams. Tell me the story behind it and why this is such an important film for people to watch right now.
Absolutely, Lara. City of Dreams is a movie about a young Mexican boy that had dreamed of being a soccer star. He was misled by traffickers in Mexico and was trafficked, like so many children are, across the U.S. border, and he was enslaved inside a garment and sweatshop in Los Angeles. Our story is based on true events. And it's a story about this young boy who had the courage to stand up against his captors and fight for his freedom and for the freedom of the other children. And it's a really, really creative story. I think it's so important for everyone to watch the story and to learn a lot about the issue right now with child trafficking. I saw this film in March. It was already finished. The writer and the director is a man named Mohit Ramchandani. His father actually was involved with child labor many years ago.
Wow.
And so he was inspired in part by the history in his family to write this story and then make this film. It took him 4 years to do it. And he went through a lot of ups and downs and hardship. And then I was shown the film in March, and a very good friend of mine, Sean Wolfington, has produced about 6 or 7 films that all have purpose and meaning. He made a film called Bella almost 20 years ago now about a young girl who chose to keep her baby. It wasn't really like pro-life or anything like that. It was just a wonderful story. He was one of the producers behind Sound of Freedom that also had a very, very important message about child trafficking and pedophilia. And so Sean asked me to screen this movie with him. And I saw City of Dreams and I wept, like so many of us have wept at the end of the story, that it touched my heart in such a way that I spoke to Mohit until 2 a.m. I think I finished the film at 10. He explained to me the plight of these children and how child trafficking, it's just exploded in the past 5 years. And we'll talk about my view on that in a minute and what I believe some of those causes are.
Yeah,
but
I want to ask you really quickly, John, before we get to that. For people out there who are saying, so this is a fictional story, right? This is a story written for the screen. This is not based on an actual person, correct?
It's based on true events. About 10 years ago, there was a sweatshop in Los Angeles, and they had 15 to 20 children that had been enslaved for years and years, and a big SWAT team had saved them all. And so he was inspired by those events to write the story about Jesus, who's the hero in this story.
And when you talk about child trafficking, for people out there who might hear that term, don't really understand what it means, give us an idea of what that means. And I would also point out that right now, over the course of the Biden-Harris administration, you have somewhere in the neighborhood of 125,000 children who have come over the southern border whose whereabouts are now unknown. And the idea that they may find themselves in a child trafficking situation is probably, John, more likely than not. Tell people what does that look like? What does that mean?
Yeah, so I was very touched, like I said a second ago, and I decided to bring funding that more than doubled the budget to amplify this important story, to highlight how bad the child trafficking is after I had learned about it. But to answer your question, so from my understanding, the last 5 or 6 years, I mean, it's not just during Biden's administration, but the border has had some really serious problems with illegals coming across the border. Your father-in-law was right 100% to build a wall and to try to stop these inflows of illegals that were coming in. I do believe that in the next administration, that because they sent a message welcoming everyone to come through, and it was a very, very clear message to welcome migrants, sorry about that, to come through, that many traffickers in some very poor countries like Guatemala especially, they've got such an issue with poverty. They started trafficking the children just like they do running cocaine, frankly. And they had approached and had Facebook ads that I've now learned. They'd approach families in these poor countries and pitch them that for $3,000 to $5,000 US, they would take their children to the border. And they knew that unaccompanied minors would be welcomed into these tent cities that were being built. So from my understanding, these unaccompanied minors were trafficked. Some of these parents, of course, we can't think of this in the lives that we lead to give up our children. But I do believe that I've seen the ads. I think that some of the parents thought that maybe these children would get a better life, okay, in the United States. What I've uncovered is that in so many cases, they've now been put into modern day slavery right here in the United States, because when they got to the border policies were so flawed, okay, that Hannah Dreier of the New York Times, a very left and liberal leaning newspaper, there's no doubt about that, she had the courage to write over 20 articles. She exposed whistleblowers at the Housing and Social Services. A dozen of them walked out and said, the fact that these sponsors are not being vetted, that we are setting these children up for harm and exploitation. Just to back up, the foster system takes care of children. In the foster system, there are weekly, for some fosters, and then for sure monthly checks, text messages and photographs with the children that came across the border. There was all this news media showing the tent cities of children, and they pushed them out as quickly as possible with very low vetting, okay? And now your number, I believe, to be off of 125,000, I believe that some of the reporting is saying that the U.S. government has now completely lost track of like 325,000 unaccompanied minor children. They've now disappeared into our country and are being exploited and harmed. Hannah's reporting that she had uncovered that in Minnesota, in Texas, and in Florida, that some sponsors have 15 to 20 children. That the traffickers with the Suburbans that brought them there, they gave the children the name and number of another bad guy inside the United States. That there were bad guys giving these poor children to other bad guys. Her reporting says that the children were being picked up in 15-passenger vans, they were sleeping 20 kids in 2 bedrooms like little sardines. Then they were cleaning pig slaughterhouses.
Tell me.
And that company got in a lot of trouble. But there are so many cases like that. Some of the children that she actually spoke to said that they're being charged $500 of rent. I mean, can you imagine a 12 or 13-year-old? They're babies, and now they're in indentured servitude, and so being charged rent. We need to save these children. We need to talk about this. We need to find these children. When I learned about all of this, I've had a wonderful life. I'm a bond trader, and I own a company, United Capital Markets, and I've just been so blessed with a great business. I've traded about 65 billion of structured finance bonds throughout our career, and I've got resources. I've always connected with my community, and when I wept and I saw this movie, I said, I'm going to provide funding to make sure that the world can learn about this issue. And so that's how that's really how I've become involved. Since then, I've been an advocate, and I feel that I should be using my voice at this point to speak up for these children that have no voice.
Well, we are very grateful that you've done that, John. I mean, what an incredible thing to do. The fact that you've put the capital behind it that's going to actually give it the, ability to truly be seen by so many people, I think is incredible. Where can people actually see this film?
So right now we are in theaters. We opened up with 775 theaters, and unfortunately, all of the theater chains that were out there, they cut us back after our first weekend. Okay,
to 200. Why do you think that happened, John?
From 220 to down to 225 theaters. Well, there's a lot of reasons. I think that there's other competing movies that had come out, and the corporate greed that another film like Beetlejuice is going to outperform a movie like this that has unbelievable social impact and the message. That could be part of it. I do know that all of the critics, the media, that they attack Sound of Freedom, and they've been attacking our movie.
Imagine that.
I'm afraid to say this, but I really believe now that that part of the issue is that your father-in-law, he's been clear for 4 years that there's a really big issue at the border. In fact, that he has said recently that he believes that the flawed policies at the border have led to the harm of these children. And he's been talking about that. I believe the fact that he's been really tough on the border the whole time, unfortunately, the media, it is so biased. Just look at the treatment that he got during the debate. It just...
It
sickened me. It sickened me to have those moderators doing that to him. It's just not fair. Now, I do believe that all of the media, they absolutely should be ashamed of themselves because they are not giving attention to this very important issue of trying to protect and save these children that have been lost in the United States. Hannah Dreier is the only one. She had the courage to report on this. She did 20 articles, not one network. Nobody's done any reporting on this. Nobody speaks up. And that's why, frankly, I was like, I've had enough of this. I am going to make noise, okay, because I have principles and I'm trying to raise my children to do the right thing. And just recently, I got kind of choked up. I was on another show trying to talk about this. And when I told the host at Timcast, and I got choked up, I was like, my daughter just came to me recently, and then she looked at me and she said, Dad, you're doing the right thing. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's right. And the Devaneys are here, my children and my wife, and we're so proud to speak up. People have taken some shots at me. I mean, I really don't care.
But John, that's the frustrating thing to me. What we're talking about here should be very basic for people. You have children. These are minors. I mean, you just said 12, 13-year-old kids, right? I have my son's birthday is today. He turned 7 years old today. My daughter just turned 5. So they're not quite that old, but I imagine there are kids of all ages that end up in these horrific situations. Anybody out there with any sort of conscience can look at this situation and say, this is wrong. This should never happen. And were it not for what you said at the beginning, which is the fact that you had an administration right now welcoming people to coming legally over our southern border, you would not have the problem we have right now. Who knows whatever ends up happening to these kids? 325,000 just gone and no one knows where they are. The fact that everyone is not in a full-blown panic over this is disgusting and disgraceful. And I give you a lot of credit. Kudos to you and everyone associated with this film and this project, because this is very important stuff. We should be ringing alarm bells everywhere. You got kids missing by the hundreds of thousands, John. This is serious business. You have very big names associated with this, though. Tony Robbins, Vivek Ramaswamy, Mira Sorvino. I imagine that these are people who also, like you, took a look at what was going on here. And when they found out we can actually talk about this, we can expose what's been going on, at least through a film of some variety, to people, they all must have wanted to get together and do something about it. Is that how all these people got involved?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I mean, we have over 100 celebrities and influencers that have all sort of joined hands together. If you go to our website at cityofdreamsmovie.com, you can see all of these testimonial videos. Sylvester Stallone has made videos. Michael Phillips, a renowned producer. Mike Tyson had also made a video. Luis Fonsi, a Grammy Award-winning singer, I've now gotten to know, he lives here in Miami. He wept, and he said, you know what, that let me sing a song, City of Dreams. He made a beautiful song called City of Dreams. It's on YouTube. Linda Perry, the renowned songwriter, she wrote the song. She had the same reaction. She says that she saw the movie and was weeping. And within a half an hour, all the words to our theme song, City of Dream, came out of her. So that there are so many that were touched by this film, just like I was. And it's funny, there's a terrible issue with Facebook that it turns out that all of our 100 testimonials that we wanted Americans to see, it turns out that they got only 5 to 20% of the normal views. Wow. Some of these celebrities get 500,000 or 1 million views, and they have all these followers, and that we know that Facebook is shadow banning everything. You can't even search on Google right now. If you put in asking for the website for City of Dreams movie, that you can't even get it. You have to actually type it in.
John, wait till you see how this does on Facebook, by the way. You know every single time that they're shadow banning you. It's so obvious. And again, I'll use the word disgraceful. It's a disgrace. This sort of thing should not be happening in the United States, and especially, John, with something this important. But it just leads people to believe that there is a bigger machine and system at play here and in the background, right? That everybody is working together behind the scenes to, I can't imagine anything else than to politically help one side of the aisle, right? And it's really sick because you've got people out there who are in danger. You have children out there who are in danger. And I can't even say how disgusted I am with the whole thing. I want to ask you, though, after working on this project, what was maybe one of the most shocking things you learned? Because you must have known this was going on, but I can only imagine you didn't know to what extent until you really dug your teeth in.
Wouldn't it be amazing to support a skincare company that shares our values and celebrates faith, family, and freedom, and proudly stands behind conservative causes? I have found the perfect skincare brand, and it's called Nimi. Nimi offers simplified daily routines that cleanse, brighten, protect, and help fight the key signs of aging. You can literally just clear out your cabinet and replace all your miscellaneous products with an effective routine from Nimi. Nimi offers clean, effective skincare proudly made right here in the USA that stands strong against the woke, progressive beauty companies that back anti-American causes. Nimi has luxurious skincare for all skin types, offering cleansers, toners, moisturizers, serums, and more. I personally love Nimi's clean line as it offers high-end, clean skincare products that are free from fragrance and other chemicals that may disrupt your skin's natural microbiome. Build a custom bundle and save up to 20% off your routine. Plus, use code LARA, Lara, for an additional 5% off. That's NimiSkincare.com, Nimi skincare.com, to elevate your routine with America's skincare company, or click the link in the bio to save big on your order and make sure you use promo code LARA today. You've asked and MyPillow listened. They're finally bringing you the most requested offer ever. Right now, you can get the queen size premium MyPillow for only $19.98. MyPillow is made with patented adjustable fill, and it adjusts to your exact individual needs, regardless of your sleep position. It helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long, so you get the best sleep of your life. But that's not all. Get their 6-piece kitchen or bath towel sets for only $25, the brand new mattress topper for as low as $69.98, and their famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25, and so much more. Go to mypillow.com or call 800-624-3945 and use promo code TRUMP to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen size MyPillow, only $19.98. That is the lowest price ever. Don't delay, order today and use promo code TRUMP.
Yeah, I think that finding out and doing all these investigations, and I have read every single one of Hannah Dreyer's articles. So I shared some of the issues that she had learned. That many of the kids are responsible, even to pay back the $3,000 to $5,000, and it's just sickening. It's just absolutely sickening to me. But the real thing that's so shocking is I just can't believe that if she wrote all these articles, why other newspapers and media, wouldn't be picking this up. Because she's been putting out an article once a month starting in 2023, and it's rolling all into 2024. And the reason is that your father-in-law, President Trump, he has warned America that the inflow of migrants, both illegally and legally, are causing very serious issues inside our country. And so if the media focuses on this issue of highlighting that many children, unfortunately, have been exploited, just like Hannah said, that it could help President Trump in his own campaign.
Right.
But it sickens me. It sickens me that the media and TV doesn't have the courage to stick up for these children that clearly have been abused.
Yeah,
so that's really the most outrageous thing. And that is why that after I learned all this stuff, I was like, listen, that I'm going to use my own voice. I mean, I've been on TV many, many times, but more on all the financial channels and CNBC and Bloomberg and all that stuff over my career. And then I recently appeared with Brian Sullivan on CNBC. He couldn't believe that I'm making these two movies. And then he immediately said, John, I'd love to have you come on the show. And then I did the interview with him. And now I've realized that it's my duty as an American to speak up and to talk a lot about what I've learned and why I made the movie. It's just so important to protect children here.
Yeah, by the way, I'll disagree with you on one thing. Donald Trump has no problem with people coming here legally and immigrating to America the legal way. It's what he talks about constantly. It's crazy, the fact that we have so many smart, incredible people who have great skills, who want to become part of our workforce here, who want to legally become citizens of this country. And the process is so daunting and it takes so long that a lot of people end up giving up, and they never actually come here and become U.S. citizens. And what a great thing that would be for our country. He's upset, of course, about the illegal people coming and the entire just dismantling of the system we have at our southern and I would say our northern border as well, because we've seen people coming in that way as well. But I agree with you. I think it is our duty and our responsibility when we find out important information that really makes a difference in people's lives. And we're talking about at this point 325,000 lives. One would be enough. 325,000. I don't even know what to make of that. It is our duty to talk about it, to make sure we spread that information, and to try to do something to fix it. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about this, because I think this is great as well. There's also a charitable component to this film. What's that all about?
Yeah, so we've partnered with 821. They've been a champion for protecting the rights of children, and so we would love to be donating some of the proceeds from our movie to 821 as well.
Well, that's great. I love a charitable arm of anything. It seems like just exposing this story in and of itself is enough of a charitable
Laura,
thing.
if I could back up real quick,
Yeah.
I just want to mention one other thing that I think is very pertinent to talking about the border.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm a bond trader, and my book of bonds right now, they're all commercial mortgage-backed securities. So we
Okay.
own about 65 bonds. We own between 100 and 200 million of products in our inventory. We're a top dealer in the country. We trade billions of flows. This year, there's been a crisis unfolding. Americans do not know about this, that there are a number of cities in our country that have defaulted office mortgage loans. And I'm talking about tens of billions, and that there's even more to come.
Wow.
It's funny that I had asked ChatGPT recently, which by the way knows everything. I had asked them, what are the top 20 cities where migrants were bussed and flown? These sanctuary cities. It gave me a list of these cities. I looked at that list and I said, oh my God, these are the same cities that are defaulting on the office mortgages. And just to give you several of the top 5 worst cities, we've got San Francisco, Philadelphia, Chicago, St. Louis, parts of LA. So that basically these are sanctuary cities that welcomed in very large amounts of the migrants more recently. The funny thing is that these cities and the Democrat-controlled city government and then some of the policies of the state government, I believe that over about 4 years, there were flawed policies across these cities. For example, in San Francisco, that they have decriminalized theft.
Right.
Anything
Steal
under
up to $950, and they don't do anything to you. I couldn't think of a dumber thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's quite dumb. So
Yeah.
that some of these cities like San Francisco, they have flawed social policies and that they've decriminalized all the retail there, like CVS and all the retail. You know what they're doing? They closed. They are not having lawlessness of having people smash and grab and run out. Number 2, that they have several of these cities have decriminalized serious drug use. I'm talking about fentanyl and heroin. You can buy and sell this stuff in open air drug markets. You should go to jail. This is killing people. 3, many of those cities have awful problem with the homelessness. And they're camping out with tents all over these downtown districts, and they're crapping and defecating on the streets. 4, many of these same cities, they have special protections for the migrants. They cannot be held. They can't be held with bail. They're released right away. Also, they can't be deported even if it's found that they came across illegally. I believe that flawed policies across many of the cities that I've mentioned, okay, including parts of New York, those flawed policies over the past 3 years were a big problem waiting to happen. In offices, they have 10-year leases with the tenants. So every year for 3 years in the cities I mentioned, all these companies will not subject their employees to bodily harm, crime, rape, that these city centers are clearing out, that it's changing these cities forever. In fact, the outlook is negative. And it, like San Francisco has many buildings that were at 9%. Okay, I'm sorry, 90% when Trump was in office. These have gone to 60%, 50%, 40%. What a shame San Francisco, America should be so proud. We are the leader in tech. And now these policies have ruined the city. It's just absolutely awful.
Yeah, no,
And
there were stories, John, in Oakland, you know, right across the water from San Francisco. You had office buildings where if people wanted to go out and get lunch, the office buildings and the companies would actually pay for an Uber or a Lyft to pick their employees up to take them 2 blocks down the street to, you know, the Chipotle or whatever it is, Subway, to get a sandwich for lunch and then get them back. They can't even walk outside anymore because it's not safe. And yeah, who wants to have an office building in an unsafe area? I can only imagine. What's the long-term trajectory, John, of something like this? These office buildings are going vacant. They can't. What happens?
It is as bad in these 5 cities that I talked about as during the financial crisis. It's absolutely unprecedented, and it's causing all these regional banks to take losses. Many of these commercial mortgage bonds are being decimated. All these different junior tranches are all being wiped out as we speak. And America doesn't know further that those cities doubled down and welcomed huge inflows in the last 1 or 2 years of migrants. New York City has 20% of every single hotel room that the city is paying for them to stay there, and they're feeding them. Now, the problem is that welcoming migrants that came legally, they don't have job skills.
Illegally.
Okay? And they're not working. They don't speak English. And then it's causing another issue of panhandling, loitering, and then unfortunately there's a history of significantly elevated crime. It was just reported a few days ago that they're saying in New York City, in all of the city, 75% of all crimes that were booked last month, 75% were from migrants, legal and illegal migrants that recently came in. That's a staggering big number. So for President Trump to be mentioning that this is an issue, it is absolutely one of the biggest issues that we're facing of our time, dealing with all the issue of migration. Clearly, it's scuttled these 5 cities. And do you know what? The outlook for sure is negative. And I'm talking about credit outlook. And all the smart people that trade these commercial mortgage bonds, like me, it doesn't matter if they're on the left or on the right. They know what I'm saying, that these cities are in trouble, that the outlook's negative. None of these corporations are going to renew any of the leases, these city governments, they've got to reverse course and change policy right away.
It's crazy. The fact that we're talking about the United States of America, it's mind-boggling to me at times. Well, John, listen, as it relates to the project that, you know, we started talking about initially, City of Dreams, this film, I want to encourage everybody out there to go see it. cityofdreamsmovie.com, is that the website?
Yep.
Okay, we want everyone to see this, and we want to continue talking about this, and we want to fix this problem. We need a secure border on both ends of our country, on the northern border and the southern border. We need to have laws in this country actually applied, and otherwise, I don't even know what happens. You know, we're talking about just a couple of specific instances of cities where you decriminalize everything. You say, you know what, there's no consequences for breaking the law. It causes pandemonium, and it's a disaster, and it is a long-term, it's going to ruin our country in so many different ways. But let's help these kids. Let's make sure everybody go out and see it. cityofdreamsmovie.com. Find out where you can see it. And just before we go, John, and I have like 1 minute left here, but what are you hoping people walk away with after seeing this? What do you hope happens as a result of people seeing this movie?
Yeah, I'd like to end on a really positive note because I realize that all this is a bit shocking. So I have started a film production company called Manor House Films. I was so touched by the issue here that I have decided to produce films that matter. We're going to be bringing a couple films a year, every year, that have purpose and meaning. And I think that right now, our country needs a studio that can bring everybody together, and that we intend to encourage people to be kind to others. And so our film studio, Manor House Films, we have another film coming out called The Prince. We've got Nicolas Cage, Scott Hayes, Andy Garcia, Giancarlo Esposito, J.K. Simmons, Simon Rex. We have a blockbuster coming out next. It deals with the issue of addiction. Another issue I think I mentioned earlier was San Francisco.
Right.
My own brother, when he was 26 and I was 25, okay, my brother got hooked on crack cocaine, and he was lost into the crack dens of Miami. And I grew up on Key Biscayne, and it was breaking our heart. We couldn't stop him from using the drug. He would run away. We would capture him in the crack dens and bring him home. And so that David Mamet wrote The Prince. When I read the script, I wept. It reminded me of my brother, and it showed me that the power of cinema can wind up spreading a positive and a good message, and could be a vehicle for change. And so that I'm so proud to be supporting a couple things, and my children and my wife all together, we've all joined hands and cried about some of this, and we feel proud to be able to put a lot of the resources and the blessings that our family has had and now redirect it into making films that matter.
Wow. Well, that's incredible. There's so much more to come. I love the idea of actually doing something good, right? There's so much opportunity, and there's just so much negativity, kind of as you just mentioned. But John, good on you for doing the right thing and doing good things. And please continue doing it. We'll have you back next time, hopefully to talk about your next movie.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, John Devaney, thank you so much for joining us here at The Right View. To everybody at home, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. We'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View.
And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.